Hello, welcome to the next edition of the competitive suite list. Today I got 6 lists that had got a 5-0 and 1 list that did recent in a big tournament. So I got 7 lists in total, one except one of that deck that got like a 4-1 or 3-1 in a big tournament looks really awesome. So if you like sweet deck lists, where I discuss, of course, deck lists that got 5-0s and competitive lists that are not meta, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification to alert for future videos. Share this video if you like. We're on our way to 1,000 subs. Let's get there together. Let's get into these deck lists. So starting out of the gate, we have a Rakdos Goblins deck. Now, this deck hasn't really picked up anything brand new. It's just a deck that I think is just awesome. Hopefully it gets more things going forward. It does do a decent job at comboing. Also, we have like pseudo backup plans with Bandit Lord, Battlecry Goblin, and Horde Master, so that way we can technically attack. And then we have our combo pieces, which are Fireblade Charger and Scamp. And then we have Fable of the Mirror Breaker, just because it's the best goblin in the game. So, and then we have 4 Caverns, since we are a goblin deck. That is Rakdos Goblins. In the sideboard, we do have 3 Thoughtseize for the control matchup. Also for combo. 1 Volley for Amalia, Ledger Shredder, anything like that. 2 Damping Spheres for Lotus Field. 2 Leyline of the Void for... Actually, we have 3 Damping Spheres. My bad, there's one down there. Then we have 2 Leyline of the Void and a Unlicensed Hearst to fight through Phoenix, Fang. And then we have a 3 Knight of Dust's Shadow to fight through Amalia, because that would be one of our worst matchups. Just because if they wrath our board, well, we're kind of screwed. Since we are a creature-based strategy, we have 2 different options for a 2-drop removal spell with Power Word Kill and Go for the Throat. So depending on what matchup you're facing, of course you want to select one or the other, or maybe even both against something like Shieldred, where you kind of want to get rid of the Shieldred or something like that. That is Rakdos Goblins for Pioneer. Let's get into the next list. So next is a deck that I feature reasonably often on the channel. We got ourselves Celsia Angels for Pioneer. Now, this deck, of course, we have our Apparitions for removal, Angels and Valkyries for the mid-range piece that helps really give this deck its identity. Then we have a 3/3 on the Elves, which helps ramp us into our 3-drops. 4 Gahadas, because it's really decent for an Angel. 4 Bishops, because it gives us a ability to make more creatures if we deal with board wipe, stuff like that, or spot removal. We have a few Overseers. It comes down, draws a card, gains a life. It kind of looks like similar to the Holy Cow from the new set. So, except that one scries, I believe, instead of draw, and it has 1 more toughness. But either way, it should be pretty reasonable. Then we have 4 Cocos, 4 Kayla's Constructions main. Then we have a 1-of down there, Invasion of Gomikon, which is a good card for the deck to have because it's Wrath Protection and Removal Protection, so that's pretty good. You have 2 Deafening Silences for Lotus Field and Phoenix, 2 Rest in Peace for Phoenix and Fang, 2 Peacekeepers to fight through Control, 2 Archon of Emeria for Lotus Field, Phoenix, and also potentially Lotus Field, Phoenix, and stuff like that. 2 Redains for pushing off Wraths for mid-range, and also helps against Control. And against Rakdos Sacrifice, we can bring it in and cast the back half. 2 Welcomes for a little bit of grinding matchups, so against mid-range and Control. 3 Portable Holes for aggro. That is our Celsia Angels for Pioneer. Let's get into the next list. Next, we're going to discuss a little bit of innovation coming out of Heroic. So this deck has been putting up results, Boros and the Mardu version, which is now a thing. This deck goes Mardu, so we can have Edict, to help fight through the Rippers. So that's pretty important. And we also get Claim, which is basically taking a creature slot in the deck, right? So instead we were playing 16 creatures, we cut our additional creatures for Claim to get a creature back, which is actually kind of nice. We have our normal stuff going on here: Strike, Anger, Illuminator, Hoplite, 10th District. We also, I think, picked up, yes, we switched our instance. So we have 4 escapes to help against Amalia. And then we have our One of God's Willing main board, none on the side. And I guess in certain matchups, we do have a couple more claims. We face something that has heavy amounts of removal. That's quite important. And of course, to compensate this black edition, we have Blood Crypt, Shrine, and Mana Confluence. So we do take more damage from our mana base. Hopefully that doesn't make our mirror match worse, or against Evoke, where our life total might matter. And then we also trimmed back on Reckless Rage in the main. So side though, we have Light of Hope for enchantment removal, because it also can just target one of our creatures and put a counter on it. We have a couple volleys for Amalia as well. And we have 3 edicts for Ripper. 1 Get Lost for catch-all removal spell for Shield Road, whatever. And this is where I wanted to feature this deck. For some reason, this particular build picked up 4 Urbrass Forges, which is just super based. So it's worth the discussion. So if you want to play Mardu and try out Mardu Heroic, I recommend this version because it has the 4 forges. It might not be correct, especially depending on what meta you have, but you can't go wrong with Urbrass Forge, which is just an awesome card. That is our Mardu Heroic. Let's get into the next list. The next on my list is a 4-color Aurus deck. Now this one does not run blue, which is one of the more common decks anymore, which is the Bant ones that uses the Aurus to draw extra cards. Instead, this is a 2-color deck that primarily just only has red for Hammer Hand and black for Ghost Form. This version also plays the Visitor package, Skrelv, and Srom. So a little bit extra card draw from our creature package and protection for our Light Paws. We have 3 cartouches, and then our armor / all that glitters for heavy amounts of beatdown plan. Then we have our life gain with Ruin of Substance. Then we have our protection spell for Light Paws, which is Alpha Authority, and then we can give it trample with Runamite or Audacity. And then it's really important to make our big threat have Vigilance with Sentinel's Eyes. So that is the main board portion of the Selesnya. Bogles. Sideboard, we have Holes, 3 of 4 aggro. Against mid-range like Rakdos, we do have 2 Vanguards. Against Atraxa, like Creativity and all that, we have Hushbringer. I might be missing it, but I think that's it when it comes to the primary meta decks that is ETB related. We have a couple Damping Spheres to help fight through Lotus Field, a Boseiju to basically cut our forest if we need to answer a land. And then we have against mid-range and control, where they might wrath our board. So we have Extraction Specialists. We could bring it in against mid-range and control to help fight through the removal packages. Probably can cut Strom or Generous Visitor in those matchups. They're not as important. Probably Visitor, honestly, just because the card draw could be actually more relevant in the counter. So that is the last of the pseudo meta decks that have been lower tier 2, upper tier 2. So they've been barely hanging on. They do a decent job. And Bogles is pretty awesome. So if you used to be a huge Bogle fan from Modern, try this list out and see how it goes. Let me know down in the comment section which one of these decks is your favorite. And now we're going to about ready to get into the spiciest list on this video. And let's get into it. Now first on my list is a Prophet's Ademic Memory. So this card typically is starting to get a lot of love in Standard, because it allows you to just really go tall with the effect, a creature. So every time you draw a card besides your first card of the turn, when you go to your combat phase, one creature gets that many counters. So with Shredder, Scholar, Shredder, Rona, like these all things draw extra cards. In the Pioneer version, we do gain access to Treasure Cruise, which is quite powerful. Of course, we still have decent interaction with Fatal Push, Thoughtseize, Bitter Triumph, and Edict. Then we have Opt as additional copies to consider, which you don't have access to in Standard. Then our mana base gets a lot better with Pathways and Shocks. Sideboard, though, we do gain access to, of course, the same cards like Duress for the control matchups. We get Leyline of the Void, so we can fight through Phoenix and Fang. Then we have a Kaido Suzuki as a mid-range piece that we could bring in, draw extra cards. A Coat for control. We have one Shieldred for mid-range. And other decks that have not much removal. Two Blot Out to fight Rakdos with the Vein Ripper combo, because it exiles, which is quite powerful and relevant there. Two Meat Hook Massacres for aggro. We have two Damping Spheres for the Lotus Field matchup. That is Dimir Draw. Go. That is a sweet list. So if you want to try this list out, the list is in the description. Let's get into the next list. So second from the last list, we have a mono bluish Devotion deck with Master Waves. Pretty based. We have Omen Hawker as well as Harbinger, Thoughts' Oracle. So it looks like we should be able to combo off, draw our entire deck in a way with Gadwick and stuff like that. And Risen Reef. So to go through our entire deck, get down the Thassa's Oracle and win the game. Now this deck is actually getting a new card, so I think this deck could be pretty nice with the brand new Jace. Now I guess this version is not playing the Leyline, which is kind of sad. But this deck does a lot better with Collected Company, which is a nice addition for a Devotion style deck like this one. Now in the sideboard though, we have Mistcaller as a playset. It really helps against, I believe, Ripper. Let me look at I think it works against Ripper and Creativity. Then we have our Pick Your Poison for Atroxa hate, Artifact and Enchantment hate. We have 4 Disputes for the control matchups, 2 Hearses to fight through Phoenix and Fang. Then we have 1 Turtle at the very bottom. Not sure what this is for, but I'm assuming this is for aggro to kind of delay our opponent's aggression by, having a 0-5 to block. And that is our blue-green Devotion Master Waves deck. Now comes the deck that got, I believe, a 4-1 or 3-1 in a big tournament. So it's going to be really awesome. So let me know down in the comment section, like I said, which one of these is your favorite. And let's get into it. So last but not least is this weird Selesnya control deck with Overwhelming Splendor in it to make your opponent's creatures 1/1s. Ugin, Leyline of Sanctity to stop the pesky Thoughtseizes. Leyline of the Guild Pact to make all of our stuff every color. Then we have Settle the Wreckage and Fumigate for our choices of Rafts. And then we have Yasharn and Ulamog. Nissa to help ramp us. So all of our lands, I see, become forest with the Leyline of the Guild Pact. You don't want more than 3 because they're kind of bad in multiples, but I totally see that. We have Stomper to help, and Sad Robot to help find our lands, and hopefully get to a Ulamog or Ugin. And we have a 4 full copies of Llanowar Elves for early game ramp to hopefully get into our Stomper turn 2. In the mana base, we have 4 and 4 of the Indestructible lands. I'm not sure why we are choosing the Indestructible lands. It's not like we could technically, quote unquote, utilize them in the same way that, the red cleansing wildfire can. But it is a very interesting concept. If you are the maker of this deck, let me know in the comment section what was your thought process with this deck, because it looks super awesome. Sideboard, though, we have Ixalan's Binding for some reason. So 4 mana, exile target non-land permanent. They can't cast another card with the same name, as long as it's, on the battlefield. We have 3 cleansing, planar cleansings to basically wrath away everything. Doesn't matter if it's an enchantment, planeswalker, doesn't matter. 3 rest in pieces for Phoenix and the Fang matchups. We have 3 Thruns for control, 3 Rexes for control, and that is the Lesnia control for Pioneer. It looks awesome. So, like I said, I want to know all what you guys think in the description. Make sure you smash that like button before you head out that door. So next season's coming pretty soon. Spoiler season has started, and the set actually looks better than what I was anticipating. So I'm kind of interested to see how the top 10 video happens and what other cards I want to talk about in videos. If there's any cards that interest you from the new set, let me know that as well down in the comment section. Any kind of comment engagement is desired. And until next time, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon.